Wonderful, so wonderful is your unfailing love. Your cross has spoken mercy over me, over me. No eye has seen, no ear has heard, no heart could fully know how glorious, how beautiful you are. Beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must sing. Powerful, so powerful, your glory fills the skies. Your mighty works displayed for all to see, all to see. The beauty of your majesty awakes my heart to sing. How marvelous, how wonderful you are. Beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must sing. Beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must sing. You opened my eyes to your wonders anew. You captured my heart with this love. 'Cause nothing on earth is as beautiful as you. You opened my eyes to your wonders anew. You captured my heart with this love. 'Cause nothing on earth is as beautiful as you. Beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must sing. Beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must sing. Faithful love flowing down from the thorn-covered crown makes me whole, saves my soul, washes whiter than snow. Faithful love calms each fear, reaches down, dries each tear, holds my hand when I can't stand on my own. Faithful love, from above, came to earth to show the Father's love. And I'll never be the same, for I've seen faithful love face to face, and Jesus is his name. Faithful love is a friend just when hope seems to end. Welcome face, sweet embrace, tender touch filled with grace. Faithful love, endless power, living flame, Spirit's fire, burning bright in the night, guiding my way. Faithful love, from above, came to earth to show the Father
back, everyone. This week we come to Psalm 57. A relatively vanilla psalm, I would say, kind of like Psalm 56 before it. As with 56, however, with 57, we're given a little bit of insight by way of the superscription into the occasion for the composition of the psalm, or at least the traditionally ascribed occasion. As we mentioned at the outset when we started our way through Psalms, the superscriptions come later; they're not part of the original text. But it notes here that this is with respect to David when he fled from Saul in the cave. It isn't more specific than that, so it could allude to one of two instances in 1 Samuel, or something else completely unrelated that we simply don't have recorded at all. We noted that that possibility was Psalm 56 as well. But like so many things that we've seen in 1 Samuel, David ends up hiding in a cave twice, in 1 Samuel 22 and then again in 1 Samuel 24. We see a lot of things like that. He goes to a cave twice. He flees to Gath twice. He spares Saul's life by taking some small token to prove it twice. So Saul is told that he's going to lose his kingship twice. It just multiple things happen again and again. So like with those, again with Psalm 56, it could be either of the two occasions when he fled to Gath, or another one altogether. Same is true here. Psalm 57. He's in a cave. Which time, I don't know. But you definitely get from the text that either of them could potentially fit, because, as with 56, he finds himself in dire straits, in need of deliverance and protection, as most psalms are. Hence, again, in my own particular term, a fairly vanilla psalm. So, I'll make a couple of observations, actually, by way of what Brother Waycaster has noted, kind of looking at the psalm at a fairly high level. Barnes, one of the few noted Old Testament commentators, observes, and I'll say this to it. I don't know if I've said it before, but I'll take the opportunity to say it again. Number one, when it comes to the Old Testament, there are relatively few commentators. There's 1,000,001 for the New Testament, very, very few for the Old. Certainly very few that actually cover the entire Old Testament. Barnes is one of my personal favorites. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I always say take commentary with a grain of salt. They can be handy, because it can give you some different insights, some different way perhaps of looking at it from people who have studied a great deal and are usually able to provide that. Take them with a grain of salt, though, because they're certainly not inspired, and oftentimes they can just be completely mistaken altogether. I would say, however, that's a far greater risk with the New Testament than it is with the Old, because with the Old Testament, so much of it is it's historical in nature. You don't get into Christian doctrine and theology the way that you do in the New Testament. With the New, you have to be extremely careful who you're listening to. With the Old, I would say, generally speaking, if you have a well-known, respected commentator like Barnes or Kyle Litch, for the most part, they're a pretty good resource. The one notable exception, I would say, is be extra careful if you're reading Old Testament commentary and you get into things like eschatology. You're looking at a book like, say, Daniel, Ezekiel, Zechariah. They're more likely to go off the rails there than perhaps they are with a historical text like, say, 1 Samuel. So with all that said, Barnes notes this regarding the occasion. It says, the author of the Chaldee paraphrase regards this psalm as belonging to that period of David's history when he was under a constant necessity of using language of this nature, or of saying, destroy not, and is therefore suited to all similar emergencies. In other words, I think he's saying what I've kind of noted about a lot of these psalms. They tend to sound quite similar to one another. It says, the language seems to be derived from the prayer of Moses in Deuteronomy 9:26. I prayed therefore unto the Lord and said, O Lord God, destroy not thy people, etc. Again, other places you find it. This very expression is found in 1 Samuel 26:9 in a command which David addressed to his followers, and it may have been a common expression with him. So perhaps a little bit of insight into the way that David would have might have spoken, ordinarily to those around him. There's also this note from Morgan between this psalm and the previous, Psalm 56. He notes, the cry is the same, but the reason is different. There, 56, it was a cry born of the consciousness of the enemy. Here, it is born of the wisdom of God and of trust in Him. Faith does not free us from trial, but it does enable us to triumph over it. Moreover, faith lifts us high above the purely personal sense of pain and creates a passion for the exaltation of God among the nations. The heart at leisure from itself is always the heart fixed on God. Okay. So hopefully that kind of helps to set the context of the psalm a bit. Again, some general observations about its composition, its similarity to other psalms and other texts that sound similar to it. And kind of looking at it at a high level, it's one of those that kind of naturally falls out into two rather obvious parts. And if you note verses 5 and 11, you'll see the common refrain. So again, that makes it rather apparent. Here's part 1, here's part 2. They both end the same way. The first part is a prayer. The second part is a resolution of thanksgiving. Okay, and then he further notes that the prayer, so the first part, the beginning down through verse 5, consists of a call unto the Lord, a description of the enemy confronting the psalmist, and an expression that God might be exalted and honored. Okay, then wraps up in verse 5. And then the second part, this resolution of thanksgiving. This entails a further description of the tactics of the enemy. Again, the enemy presumably being Saul and his and the cohort that's with him pursuing David. An expression of confidence in God and a declaration of the majesty and glory of God. Okay, so that is Psalm 57 in a nutshell. The psalm reads, Be merciful unto me, O God, be merciful unto me. For my soul trusteth in thee. Yea, in the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge until these calamities be overpassed. And again, as we've made our way through 1 Samuel, we can see how this type of calamity, as David is on the run, he's constantly moving from place to place in his fight from Saul. Here you get this small insight into I'm going to trust in God until this, not just this calamity, but these calamities, plural, because this type of thing keeps happening to him. And sadly will continue even after Saul is long gone. David will continue to have difficulty in his life. I will cry unto God most high, unto God that performeth all things for me. He shall send from heaven and save me from the reproach of him that would swallow me up. Saul. Interestingly enough, as I'm sure you're well aware as we've been making our way through 1 Samuel, you have underneath all of this, at the root cause of Saul's jealousy, David, who not only, from Saul's perspective, clearly is a more fit man to be king over Israel than he is, but you remember Saul by this point is well aware that God no longer approves of him and that someone else is going to be given the kingship over Israel. So here you have the king-to-be, who's anointed, David, on the run, hiding in a cave, trying to escape from Saul. You've got Saul, who was the initial king, but who has, again, since been told that someone better than him is going to be given the kingdom, pursuing after him. And of course, through all of this, God's plan is certainly going to win the day. God shall send forth his mercy and his truth. My soul is among lions, I lie even among them that are set on fire, even the sons of men whose teeth are spears and arrows and their tongue a sharp sword. Obviously metaphorical, lest you fall into the trap of insisting that absolutely everything you read in the Old Testament must be taken literally. Clearly this is poetic language. illustrating with this imagery the fact that he is in an extremely dire, dangerous situation. Verse 5, Be thou exalted, O God, above the heavens, let thy glory be above all the earth. And again, that concludes this first part. We're going to see the same refrain again at the end of the psalm. But continuing on to verse 6, he said, They have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. They have digged a pit before me, into the midst whereof they are fallen themselves. So you can picture the devious, the strategic nature of these that pursue after him, and Saul and those who were aiding and abetting him in pursuing David, just laying traps, doing everything they can. It brings to my mind multiple occasions that we find where, as Saul is pursuing David, David comes into these towns and on some occasions even helps them out in a difficult situation, like the Philistines at Keilah, and then the people turn on him and they report him to Saul. So it's just everywhere he turns, there's just something waiting, some trap, some snare, again in a metaphorical sense. But there's danger and there are pitfalls, so to speak, everywhere. My heart is fixed, O God, my heart is fixed. I will sing and give my praise. And you might know verse 7 kind of contrasts a bit with verse 1, where you had this double, be merciful unto me, be merciful unto me. And then in verse 7, my heart is fixed, my heart is fixed. God will certainly be merciful. David will certainly maintain his faith. Verse 8, Awake up, my glory, awake, psaltery and harp, I myself will awake early. I will praise thee, O Lord, among the people. I will sing unto thee among the nations. So everywhere he goes, he certainly isn't going to hide it. For thy mercy is great unto the heavens, and thy truth unto the clouds. Again, the very mercy that he is praying for, that where he started this psalm. But it ends, again, as most psalms tend to do, in true vanilla psalm fashion, with this concluding statement of faith. He starts out asking for mercy. He ends the psalm praising God for his the certain mercy that he shows. Be thou exalted, O God, above the heavens. Let thy glory be above all the earth. All right, that is Psalm 57. Lord willing, we will continue next time with, you guessed it, Psalm 58. Thanks for your attention today.
Over all the earth you reign on high, every mountain stream, every sunset sky. But my one request, Lord, my only aim, is that you'd reign in me again. Lord, reign in me, reign in your power, over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the Lord of all I am. So won't you reign in me again? Over every thought, over every word, may my life reflect the beauty of my Lord. 'Cause you mean more to me than any earthly thing. So won't you reign in me again? Lord, reign in me, reign in your power, over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the Lord of all I am. So won't you reign in me again? Lord, reign in me, reign in your power, over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the Lord of all I am. So won't you reign in